Living as a musician can have its challenges. One of them is being self-sustainable. If music is relevant though, I feel like it can be self-sustainable, or should be self-sustainable. Just like anything, if you use it in your everyday life, you will ultimately be willing to pay a price for it. I got Jonathan Ginn onto the show. He's a musician from the Gold Coast. He plays the violin, goes to events, weddings as well. He has a really interesting meme right now where he goes to a petrol station and he adds live music to an upper class experience. I found it quite funny, and we had a good chat about it on today's podcast. So make sure to stick around for that. At the end, we talked about how music ministry can be self-sustainable, and he gives us some really good insights on how he goes about his music ministry. Thanks for watching, and now on for today's episode of the Adventist Music Podcast. Welcome to the Adventist Music Podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I am your host, Khan Elmers. On this podcast, we explore the song stories of Adventist musicians, one story at a time. And on today's episode, we have Jonathan Ginn, all the way from Australia, down under, mate. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me on. Going very well.
Nice. Good to get you on the show today. And let's just jump right into it. Why don't you take us back to a time when you felt inspired to be a musician, like a moment that inspired you to play music?
When I was about 6 years old, my parents took me to Avondale College, which is now Avondale University, and it was to go watch this guy by the name of Jamie George play the violin. And I just went along. I was pretty young at the time, only 6 years old, and I just remember being absolutely gobsmacked by how incredible he played. And really from there, I always wanted to learn the violin. And yeah, so basically about a year later, or when I started grade one, I started learning the violin, and yeah, the rest is kind of history.
6 years old, man. That's so young. Wow. Actually, I would love to get Jamie on the show. I have reached out to him. Would you have any questions for him if he were to come on the show?
I think I sometimes do as a little bit too much of a celebrity than probably what I should. But yeah, I'd just be curious to know, I guess, how he just goes about learning new songs. I think he's very good at making covers of Christian songs that are very thoughtful, but also really show off the violin. So I'd just be curious, probably in his process, of how he actually goes about revitalizing hymns and songs like that.
So just going back to your story about when you were there 6 years old and stuff, take us back to the time when you were like practicing your violin there. Like how take us through that process.
Well, it depends which angle you want to ask it from, because if you ask my cousin, he's like, I remember coming and visiting your house, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, there'd just be like a screeching cat that I'd have to wake up to. So for my parents and my family that had to put up with it, especially for the first few years, I'm sure it wasn't particularly pleasant. But yeah, really, it just started by getting lessons at school, and then my parents were definitely a big encouragement along the whole journey, but it was basically just try and practice for 10, 15, 20 minutes a day and just kind of slowly up the practice time when you're starting out. And yeah, I was classically trained, so it was just learning songs out of a Suzuki method, and I just kind of started that way. And yeah, it just kind of went from there, where I just basically like classical most of kind of primary school and high school before I kind of went into playing more covers of pop songs and love songs for, I guess, the avenue that I've decided to go with.
I noticed that you've been playing in quite a lot of like groups right now. Do you have when did you start playing with ensembles and stuff like that?
Well, I think you're referring more recently to some Instagram videos I've been doing, but but basically, in the last couple of months, I've just made a bit of a meme of how high the petrol prices are, and or fuel prices. So I've been going around to different petrol stations and adding live music to what is the upper class experience of filling up with fuel. So that's been a bit more of a on the fly, just make group chats and see who is actually interested in coming and playing at petrol stations with me. But I wouldn't say I play with many of the people in those videos for gigs or whatnot. I do offer violin, piano, violin, cello, piano for weddings and events, but the groups of like 10 or more people that have come together has either been a lot actually just Adventist friends. I think a lot of Adventists grew up playing the violin, so that's definitely a win, or a string instrument. And then other times it's just been other people that are, say, in the wedding industry, or wedding musicians, or just others who are keen to come along for a fun time at a petrol station.
Yeah. And actually, I really want to like dive into that a bit more and to know more about what you're trying to do there. And it sounds like you're just trying to take the mickey, but I know that you probably have a purpose and a message that you're trying to share through that too. But um, going back to what you're talking about with your music there,
Mhm.
if anyone did want to like hire you to be a a musician at the wedding, how would they go about that? What's the process?
Well, I have a website which just has a bunch of songs, videos of me playing with a bunch of information of what I do, the packages I offer for weddings and events. So typically people either find me through Instagram, maybe YouTube, or often Google, and they will then just inquire with me through my website, or sometimes I'll just reach out, email, call, or whatnot, and then we'll just negotiate, I guess, pricing structure or how much it's going to cost, and then kind of go from there. So typically, well, most of my work is playing for weddings, and then I also play for some corporate events, proposals, parties. It just kind of depends. It's just whatever people want. But the niche that I've kind of got into is playing, yeah, covers of pop songs and love songs. So kind of giving a Bridgerton style feel to weddings and events.
So, do you also have any music like available if people want to listen to music? Where could they find it?
On my website and YouTube, I do. I don't have any high quality recordings released on Spotify, unfortunately, just because it is quite expensive to make covers and whatnot. But I do have quite a few songs on my website.
So yeah, make sure you guys check that out if you have any inquiries for him. I'm sure he'll love to come and play for your weddings. Actually, but before I continue though, I would like to ask you a
Hmm.
question regarding like the relevancy of doing music as a ministry
Hmm.
in 2026, because I think what's predicated upon music ministry being self-sustainable in 2026 is the idea that ministry is relevant in 2026,
Hmm.
because if it's relevant then we'll find the money for it, right?
Mm.
So it's like, so why is music ministry relevant in 2026?
Yeah, good question. Well, it kind of depends what aspects of music ministry you're looking for. So, I guess I've still got more my business side where I'm, I guess, trying to make money playing at weddings and events and whatnot. And I play at a variety of Christian weddings and non-Christian weddings. And I try to be a bit involved with music at church and organizing other things. So I think there's definitely a place for music, a way for people to, I guess, create new music and be able to create new songs of praise and whatnot. I feel like I'm less of a creator like other musicians and more of a just make covers and try and, I guess, take songs that people already know and just make it sound a bit different on a violin, whether it's a Christian song or a non-Christian song. And I think there's probably a place for both. But yeah, I guess in, well, where I feel like I can kind of have my niche, I'm less in like the create new songs or whatnot, but just try and, I guess, bring songs that are, say, familiar in a new way. So when it comes to the whole sustainability thing, yeah, I'm probably not the best person to talk about trying to make new music and how you kind of fund that, because I've seen others, whether it's like, I don't know if you follow the Enterman duo. They've just tried to release a bunch of music, or Anna Bean's another one that they will try and crowdfund to, I guess, make music. And sometimes I look at it and go, it's very bold because it's not cheap to produce music.
It looks like you have a very unique niche that you're trying to get into, which is like more of the performance side
Hmm.
of the music.
Hmm.
I think that that definitely has a place, and I quite like what you're doing there, being with the weddings and doing the events type of thing. From what I understand, you're trying to say like that side of things, you found that to be relevant, and using pop songs. I find that quite interesting, that you're doing that, because that's something that people find relevant
Hmm.
today.
Hmm.
And so, are you trying to like connect with people through those songs as well? Like,
Yeah.
is it, what is your purpose behind that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm trying to make songs that people connect with. So when it's in a wedding scene, it's kind of your classic songs like Can't Help Falling in Love, A Thousand Years, songs that people are very familiar with, that they really like the sound of it on the violin. So I'm trying to just, I guess, create covers of songs that people really like. There's other Christian songs that are quite popular for wedding entrances, like Goodness of God. I just learnt one called Nothing New I Do by Brendan Lake, which is also really nice. Um, so when it comes to how I guess, go about making music or whatnot, it's very much steered towards what would a couple want or what would an event want from a musician. And so I guess when it comes to me trying to make money, it's more a matter of trying to just make a product that people would want. And then through that, then hopefully, yeah, I can get more gigs.
Because it seems like in order to be relevant, you need to access people's lives and to understand how people think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
the thing that often stands out to me is you can take a really, I guess, common or popular pop song or love song that people are probably actually sick of just hearing the original song, but if they hear it on a violin because it's just a bit different, then sometimes they can really appreciate it. So I actually don't find I have to go that niche with finding songs or whatnot. It's a matter of just kind of reinventing the wheel, for lack of a better phrase.
Right. That's awesome. I would love to explore some more about that part of your ministry in the later part of it, especially how you go about financing that as well, and what that looks like. Maybe you can give some tips for audience. So if you guys want to stick around, then we'll be talking about some advice for self-sustainability of ministries as well. So next, I'd like to chat with you some more about the pump. I like to call it's the pump, right? So what's going on at the pump, man?
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone knows that it's more expensive to fill up at the petrol station or when you fill up at the pump, however you like to say it, ever since, I guess, the whole uh, war in Iran started about 3 months ago. And yeah, about 2 months ago, I was just trying to think of, well, I'm always trying to think of new ideas for my Instagram page because that's where I get a lot of my bookings for. And I try to make a lot of content to, I guess, promote my business through there. And I was just thinking of different ways of promoting my business or whatnot. And I just had this video idea come to me. I'm thinking, I've got to combine something with the violin and how expensive it is to fill up at the petrol station. And it was a Sunday afternoon, and my wife was just in the kitchen, and I said, "Oh, when are we both free at the same time? I've got this video idea." And it wasn't for a few days that we were both free. So anyway, it comes to the day we're both free, and we go to this petrol station, and I basically just take a video of me playing my violin out the front of a petrol station, and I caption the video adding live music to an upper class experience. You could see the clear petrol prices behind me with people filling up in the background. And I posted it to my social media. It was just going to be a once off video when I first posted it. And yeah, for the first kind of few hours, it was going pretty good. It might have had 3 or 4 thousand views, but it wasn't doing anything particularly amazing. And then that night, when I was going to sleep, I thought, oh, maybe I could make a bit of a series out of this. And so I thought maybe tomorrow I'm driving past a fuel station. I'll just take another video and I'll just caption it day 2 of playing my violin in front of a servo or service station until I get a free tank of
Yeah.
fuel. And when I actually opened my phone at about 11 o'clock the next morning, the first video was starting to blow up. It already had about 200,000 views, and people were
Oh,
really, I
mate.
guess, resonating with it. And yeah, so that first video is really what kicked this whole thing off. That video has got over 17 million views now, which is
Whoa.
honestly crazy.
Unbelievable.
I think it was a combination of lots of people making Titanic memes about how when the Titanic was sinking, there was live music to distract people or calm people down from what was going on. A lot of Americans getting confused at the gas prices, so that blew the comments up as well. And there's still people engaging with that video over 2 months on, which is pretty crazy for an Instagram video because usually they're only picked up for a week or two, maybe 4 to 6 weeks if you're really lucky. So then, yeah, it just kind of kicked on this series where I then was just going to different service stations every day and just playing until I got a free tank of fuel. And I actually wanted a service station to give me a free tank of fuel, not just a regular Aussie. And then, yeah, on day 9 of the challenge, I had a bunch of media that picked the whole story up. And then this radio station coordinated for an independent service station on the Gold Coast to give me a free tank of fuel. So then I went there and then took a video. And yeah, it was really fun.
Man, so you're like making friends along the way as well.
Oh, absolutely. People really were just loving it because it's just you never see live music at petrol stations. So people were just
Yeah, it's quite
really,
comical, really.
yeah, people were just really engaging with
Yeah.
that. And yeah, then you'd often get people that are obviously asking you what you're doing. So you just send them to your social media and they kind of get a better idea of what's going on. And yeah, I think what just stood out to me about the whole thing, the videos that I were posting were not the highest quality videos that were the most aesthetically pleasing. I think it was just because it was very organic, quite an original idea, and yeah, people just seem to engage with that. Even the first video that took off like crazy, it's not the best video, but it just really, yeah, really got people laughing and sharing, which is, I guess, what you want.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique idea, that one. Oh
Mhm.
my. So, do you have any funny stories of like things that you've had that have taken place during that journey?
Oh, absolutely, because yeah, it's been pretty wild. So I'd say I was actually thinking this morning I should tally up how many fuel stations I've actually been to, but I would guess I've probably been to around 30 at this stage because after I got my
Wow.
free tank of fuel, I then tried to start changing tact. So now I'm actually trying to give away free tanks of fuel to just random Aussies. And I'm trying to get just other businesses or people to pay forward a tank of fuel so that I can then just go up to a random person and give away the free tank of fuel. So I guess in the first series where I was just going on different service stations and whatnot, you get lots of people honking their horn and having a laugh when you drive past. I've had 3 service stations actually kick me out. I even had a BP that was announcing over the loudspeaker, "You can't video 8 meters near the Bowser, please go away," essentially. And then we went out the
Wow.
front and then they were still announcing us to go away. And then yeah, so I've had some service stations not particularly impressed, and I understand it's a liability thing. I've been kicked off uh, Westfield as well because the security there was saying I need to get permission and whatnot. So yeah, there's been a few run-ins that have been a bit comical, but for
Yeah.
the most part, everyone's kind of really loved it and whatnot. But I think where I'm getting the funniest, most raw interactions is where I now go up to people, often with someone else who's going to be donating $100, $150 to a tank of fuel, and I'll just say, "Hey, can I play you a song while you fill up?" It's purely off script, so I don't really make any. This is just all as it happens, and then I'll often play
Yeah.
for a bit, and then the other person, or I might then give them the $100, and I'll often say things like, "Oh, is this a scam? Or what do I have to do?
Yeah.
Or is this real?" And it's you get quite a funny range of just responses when you're just trying to give money to people for free because I think we're just so trained to be aware of scams. And so when you're giving away free money,
Yeah.
people are just, "What's the catch?"
What's the catch? Yeah. What do I have to do?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting when they're like, and I see some of your videos, you're playing there, and then I mean, it seems like you give them the money, you ask them, I mean, you're offering the money. If we could play you a song, you give them
Mhm,
money. It's like
mhm.
it seems a bit suspicious. Like, what do these guys want from me? Kind of thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it does. But the thing that is interesting is I think most people these days are actually more than happy to have videos posted on social media. So for the most part, at the end, I'll just say, "Are you okay if I post that on my social media?" And they're more than okay with it. And then once they kind of
Yeah.
understand what we're doing, then it makes sense to them.
You said to me that you're not really a creator very much, like in terms of music production, but it seems that you're really trying to, you're jumped on something here that is a bit more relevant, if I dare say. You
Yeah,
know, in a sense, it seems like a lot more people have found what you're doing relevant than your traditional music ministry. Would you say that's fair?
yeah. There's probably definitely some truth to it, and I guess it's probably a byproduct of the Instagram algorithm almost forces you to try and make content that is engaging and keeps people engaged. So when I'm
Mm,
going to say, I know when I first went to go make the video at the petrol station, it wasn't I wasn't going there necessarily for the people at the petrol station. I was going there to make a funny Instagram video. But from
right.
that, I guess it's kind of enabled me to be able to, yeah, actually meet people and just have funny conversations for a couple of minutes. And it's, yeah, just been a really cool way to cheer people up because music does have a really good way of just cheering people up. And when they're just seeing, yeah, just this musician that's just randomly there dressed in a suit playing covers of songs that they generally know, then it is a really, I guess, easy way to talk to people. And yeah, I've had, so to even go back to your last question, I've had lots of, I guess, cool conversations come out of it. A standout one was I was playing in Brisbane and I'd organised this 11-part ensemble to go play out the front of this amp hole, and we were just playing kind of on the path at the front of the fuel station sign, and it was quite a busy area, and so people were just stopping to video. They were loving it. They were asking others what the go was, and they were kind of just saying what I was doing and how I was just going around cheering people up and trying to give away free tanks of fuel. And then I wasn't even talking to him. One of my other friends who was playing violin as well was talking to this guy. And then he just came up to me and then he just asked me, "Oh, what are you doing?" And then I was just explaining what I've just been telling you. And then he just handed me $300 and said, "Love what you're doing," and barely wanted to talk anymore and just left. And the $300 was just purely so
Wow.
that I could pay forward. Uh, or pay forward fuel so that others could benefit. So yeah, I've had some pretty cool people that have just kind of jumped on board with what I'm doing. And I think what's amazing is once you have a vision of what you're trying to do, then there's plenty of people who are actually willing to cheer you on to help out. So I'm trying to give away 20 free tanks of fuel to literally just random Aussies. And I've done 13 already, which is awesome. A range of wedding businesses. I've even had Toronto Adventist School jump on board with it. I've had a whole different range of people. And so I'm trying to get to 20. And for tank number 20, I'm actually trying to crowdfund $1,000 to go give to a small business that uses a truck. And I've already raised, I think we're up to $820. So I'm hoping that we can get the whole way. And yeah, that'll be kind of the finale that we finish it off at, hopefully.
Nice. So an upper class experience, adding live music to an upper class experience, what is the message that you would like people to get from that?
I mean, it's really just a meme. Let's be real. I think people often associate string instruments as being, I guess, more upper class thing, or it's expensive to hire, say, a trio or quartet for an event or whatnot. So I guess we're just making music a bit more accessible by going to a petrol station and playing. But yeah, it's purely just for a joke, really.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't elaborate too much more than that.
I think our listeners understand what you're trying to go with there. Fuel price. It's almost like you have to go to the pump and you're like you have to be like a upper middle class just to fill up your tank.
Well, yeah, it's really just it's expensive to fill up with fuel, so let's compensate you with
Yeah,
some live music to, I guess, cheer up the experience and yeah, make
yeah.
it a worthy experience.
Yeah, I'm sure many people are very sad when they go to the pump and they have to fill up double the amount that they would normally have to.
Yes, very true.
So, so your ministry is really fulfilling a need there. I'm sure.
I hope so. It's definitely cheered up a lot of people, and yeah, I hope that even though I mightn't directly be, say, going out and witnessing and sharing my faith necessarily, that hopefully they'll engage with my story and see some other things on my social media or whatnot, where I am pretty open with the fact that I am a Christian, and yeah,
Yeah.
I love sharing Jesus with others. It's probably just a bit more of uh, a couple of steps to get there, but I do think with just how Instagram algorithms are, I guess, designed, or social media, is people consume stuff that they like to consume. So I think if you're just explicitly posting only Christian stuff, you're probably typically just only going to get Christians engaging with your content. Whereas I find for me, if I just run my business and then every now and again I might just have a story about how I might be, say, preaching at church, or we've organized an item playing The Blessing with 10 other string musicians. If anyone wants to come along and listen to it, we're doing this sort of Friday night youth program. And I find that's an easier way to kind of, I guess, bring up the fact that I'm a Christian. And then often I find it's then when I'm, say, at weddings or whatnot, chatting with other wedding suppliers or vendors, that they might ask questions about how on earth do you survive as a wedding vendor when you don't take Saturday weddings, or stuff like that will come up. So yeah, it's probably a bit different to maybe how others go about it. And I think there's definitely a place for people that explicitly write Christian music, and I definitely engage with that myself. But for trying to, I guess, reach people that aren't Christian, I guess my approach is a bit different.
Now more than ever, I think it's more and more getting more and more difficult for musicians to become self-sufficient. What approaches have you found to be helpful or successful in making your music ministry to be self-sufficient?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm fully self-sufficient. As you can see, I'm actually at my other job, which is an osteopath, and I would do that 3 days a week. So it's not like I work full time as a wedding violinist. But I think for me to have some sort of steady income, which is from being an osteo, is a really good, I guess, backstop for making income regardless of what the music side of things is doing. So I'm probably unique in that case. Although I do feel like a lot of musicians have another job that they work, maybe at reduced hours so that they've got more time to do music, but they've still got some sort of steady income so that when the music, I guess, is a bit seasonal or it isn't consistent, then they can rely on the other job. So for me, I guess I started out trying to make money playing violin by busking. So I used to go to shopping centers from about 17 years old and would busk. And that was actually a really good way when I was studying at university to make money because the hourly rate was actually quite good. And it was back before COVID when people were actually carrying cash and you could make quite a good amount better than me going working at Coles or whatever else I could do as a uni student. But then as COVID kind of happened, we went a bit more cashless and whatnot. Busking was just becoming less and less worth it because people weren't carrying cash. Shopping centers weren't loving having me as much just because of all the COVID restrictions and whatnot. So then in 2021, 2022, I started exploring other options because from busking, I did have a couple of people request me to play for their wedding, but I never really considered doing it, I guess, as an actual job. So it's only really been the last, I'd say, 3 years I've tried to seriously become a wedding and event musician. And I've always had other incomes to, I guess, support it, which has been of benefit while I've been trying to build up the wedding clients and whatnot. Because it's not like people just book you a week in advance. Couples are planning their weddings 6 to 18 months, even sometimes 24 months in advance because of just how peak dates work. So for me, trying to make my business self-sustainable, I try to just charge industry standard, or I try to charge regular amounts. I'm not really giving in the business of, say, giving discounts or anything at this stage. Sometimes for Adventists or friends, I might give discounts or whatnot. But for the most part, it's a business. I charge fairly competitive rates, and my goal is really to get to playing for around 60 to 70 weddings a year. And then if I've got events sprinkled around that, then that would earn me probably more than what I would get from working as an osteo 2 or 3 days a week. So that's when you start to get to the maths of what do you start to prioritize more if I can make more money off music, possibly. But it's one of those ones where I think, especially in the first couple of years of trying to become a musician or make money off music from performing, you've got to have something else to, I guess, fall back on because the music work comes and goes in waves where some weeks it's amazing, you get a few weddings booked in, things feel great, and then you can have 3 or 4 weeks where not much gets booked in or you don't get many invoices paid. And it's nice to have kind of other income. So I would say it's been more balancing multiple jobs, which I know some people don't love, but I actually think that it probably makes me better as an osteo and better as a musician to not do both full time, just because it, I guess, puts me in different places or different. It gets me thinking differently, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I'm not a full-time English teacher, but I do also do podcast production too. So that's kind of like how I do it. So I make podcasts for Adventist businesses, Adventist ministries, or any business that has a mission that's mission driven. And then I also teach English because I live in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. So I work remotely, and then in person I'm teaching English. So for me, it's a good balance. Like I can work with I can do my ministry, like doing the audio engine or doing the podcast production, which is mainly like you see, like here, I'm at my home right now. I'm doing this at home. But when I'm doing my English teaching, I'm actually going out and dealing with people one on one. And I think that one on one aspect of working with people is also very rewarding. And it looks like you kind of get into that with your osteopath work. Do you find that it helps you to balance your life as well, having that breaking that up?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Uh, I do like that as a musician, I can kind of just kind of have my music job. I've always got songs to practice, and I enjoy that. But I think if I was actually doing that full time, not that I necessarily get sick of it, but I probably just wouldn't enjoy the weddings as much when I say I only have one or two weddings a week. Whereas if you were trying to get 4 or 5 gigs a week, then I could see how it could become pretty tiring, even just on your body
Yeah.
as well. So I do like that. I like to say that as an osteo, it's my extroverted job where I'm talking to people a lot. Whereas as a musician, it's my introverted job where I actually don't talk to people that much in person. A lot of my work is more admin work, talking with brides over email, text, whatnot. And then I'll just rock up to their wedding for the few hours that they booked me for. And then as an osteo, I'm talking with every patient, and I find a lot more probably energy intensive in the fact that it's very hands on, but then also can be uh, emotionally draining if you've just had long days with complicated patients.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance because you get to have you get to develop certain parts of who you are, your character and things. What is one piece of advice that you would say to someone who is thinking of becoming a musician?
I'm going to be biased in this. I know musicians really sometimes don't like putting themselves out there because they think they've got to be completely perfect or whatnot to be able to produce music or to make content. But we live in a digital age where I think you've got to have some degree of social media presence, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, for people to be able to actually see what you do so that then they can actually engage with who you are, your content, your story. And then I think that's going to be one of the easiest ways to, I guess, be reaching new people that might be able to book you in. So I very much lean towards you've got to be on social media just because I mean, in my own experience, that's how I do get a lot of work through my Instagram. And it just seems very difficult to, I guess, get your brand out there if you don't have some degree of online presence.
Is there any strategies that you have used that have found to be quite successful or to be successful in reaching people?
Yeah, there's probably been some. I don't think I can say any particularly amazing stories, but there's been a couple of times where I've just posted a video with me maybe in front of a church building or not even like that, where it just says this one reason means I say no to 60% of work or 60% of weddings. And then in the caption, I might just have a description which just has my testimony about the fact that I'm Seventh-day Adventist. I believe that and talk a bit about the Sabbath and how I don't take work in those Sabbath hours and how I feel God has still blessed me with work throughout the week. And that is crazy to people in the wedding industry because, yeah, it's around 55 to 60% of weddings are on a Saturday. And I'm typically playing for the ceremony and the canapes, which is Saturday afternoon. So I basically say no to basically every Saturday wedding unless it's at the reception, which is kind of rare. And every time, and I've done this at least a couple of times now that I've posted a video like this, I've actually had somebody that I've never met before who isn't Adventist that is trying to get into the wedding industry that's actually reached out and been very encouraged to hear my testimony and to hear that somebody else is actually trying to, I guess, make a business out of the wedding industry. And it's just, I guess, very discouraging for Adventists trying to get into the wedding industry just because there is just so much Saturday work. And I've met, yeah, a few people now that are Adventists in the wedding industry, and we all kind of have the same just kind of like sigh when it comes to Saturday work because there's just so many weddings on Saturday, and often they're the bigger budget weddings as well. So that's one side of it, and then on the other side, I think some people that say aren't Christian or whatnot that see my content and see that I say I'm involved a bit with or involved with church or that I might have posted videos like I was just explaining before, then might have questions about what I am. So I just try to wear it kind of like I try to wear my Christianity where I can. I don't be obnoxious with it and try and just, I guess, force
Yeah,
Christianity down people's throats. I guess it's just if it comes up in
right.
conversation, it does. If it doesn't, then hopefully I can at least, I don't know, make a new friend.
Well, that's interesting. I tend to think the same way as well. I mean, that at least that's how I deal with my family because my family are not Christians as
Mm,
well. I love them. God bless you guys if you're out there. Thanks for listening to this. But yeah, it's much more. It puts the guard
mm,
down when you're not like trying to push people and like yeah, trying to jam the Bible down their throat or something like
mhm.
that. But yeah, through your life, through your principle, you're sharing the love of Jesus through your life. So
I hope so.
that's the way to go.
I definitely struggle at times, but yeah, I just
Oh,
pray
we
that
all
God
do.
can use whatever
Yeah.
talents He's blessed me with to be able to, I guess, reach others. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And what's next for you, Jonathan?
Um, with the petrol stations, I'm trying to get an orchestra to come to a petrol station and kind of have a bit of a grand finale with that, just to, I guess, lead into the series with that. But then with work, just trying to get more violin bookings for this year and next year. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That is awesome, my friend. Hey, well, thank you so much for coming on to the
No
show.
worries. Thank you very much for having me. It was
Yeah,
nice to meet you and nice to chat.
yeah, likewise. It's been really fun, and I'm so amazed to see how things have turned out for you. And I pray that you'll continue to be to to be successful in that area. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
moral of the story is memes are dangerous.
Don't mess with the memes, guys. Could blow you up, literally. Just don't bring a lighter to a gas station, please. Not a good idea.
Yeah, funny. Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for having me. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I have to do it again sometime. All right, well, that brings it to a close of this episode. Thank you guys for joining us on this podcast. It was produced by me, Khan Elmers, and just thank you so much for coming on the show, Jonathan. If you like this podcast, make sure to stay in touch with us on social media, share it with a friend, and like it, like us on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Until next time, I'll see you again on the next episode of Adventist Music.
See you later.